All right, let's get to the next game. Tampa Bay Vipers at Seattle Dragons. If you are looking at FanDuel Sportsbook as we're recording this, the Vipers favored by 3 points on the road, the only road favorite for the second week in a row. The lowest total on the slate at 45 points. Sean, what do you think of this game?
I think this is probably the most fascinating game to handicap for week 2. I mean, Tampa Bay looked horrible week 1, but I think when you look at the underlying data, I mean, they have potential there. We have to remember that they did lead the league with a win total of 7.5. So we don't want to write them off completely after week 1. They actually had a higher yards per play last week, and they lost by 20. You rarely see that. And now, to be fair, we have to take that game in context. They were losing by double digits mostly the entire game. Aaron Murray, he did look bad, and he got banged up. So we might see Flowers play a lot more quarterback this week if that's the case. So I think they're going to have to change things up this week. They had 4 red zone drives and came away with 0 touchdowns. So I think they're due for some regression. They, like Raybon said, they did move the ball. They had the most yards for the week. Again, that likely due to trailing, but there is potential there. We could see them regress, and they're playing positive regression, I'd say. And they're playing probably the team that we know is probably the worst team in the league in Seattle. So getting them at -3.5, I was hoping they'd probably be like -1 or something, but I think even at -3.5, I'll probably bite just to buy low on them. I think this is the opportunity where we can buy low on a team like Vipers.
Raybon, where are you leaning?
Yeah, I like Tampa. I like the buy low call on Tampa Bay as well, and Seattle. I mean, when you look at their quarterback situation, Brandon Silvers. If you look at Pro Football Focus's grades, he was the worst graded of the starting quarterbacks. He went just 21 of 40 for 217 yards. So even though he threw 3 touchdowns, he only averaged 5.4 yards per attempt. That's about almost a yard lower than the league average, and he threw 2 picks. So he was one of only 2 quarterbacks, along with Aaron Murray on the other side, strangely enough, that threw 2 picks, multiple picks in a game. So I think that, from that perspective, it could be kind of a little bit of a sloppy type of situation. But as far as, DFS and whatnot, I think we saw, Austin Pro step it up for Tampa Bay and catch 5 for 60 on 10 targets. And then Daniel Williams, for Seattle. And then for Tampa Bay, Daniel Williams, he really kind of showed out, 6 for 123. So I think he'll be a guy who, going forward, probably have to treat him more like the number 1 guy. I know there was kind of a couple other guys near the top of that depth chart that we were thinking about. But I think Williams really kind of showed out. And at 7,600, he's actually 1,600 cheaper than Pro in the same game, and I think he has more upside. So I like him.
All right, at DFS, I'm thinking Devion Smith is someone who is kind of standing out for me as the, like the lead back there for Tampa Bay, and there are so few locked in lead backs in this league that I think you basically have to consider almost anyone who seems to be getting the majority or close to the majority of the carries for his team. So Smith is someone who stands out. Corner, do you have any DFS thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed they have Quentin Flowers as a quarterback this week. I thought if they had him as a running back, there is some sneaky upside to have a quarterback in running back slot. But I think for this game, again, sticking with the cheaper wide receivers, Jalen Tolliver is another guy. He's 3.8K. He only went 3 catches for 47 yards last week, but he saw 8 targets, led the team with 95% of routes run on dropbacks. So there's a lot of potential there. Again, this team didn't score a touchdown week 1. So all these guys will probably be under-owned in DFS. So they're due for some touchdown regression. I like him. And then Seattle brought in S.J. Green. I don't know if he'll be playing too much this week, but he's a guy we need to look out for. He was the active receiving yards leader in the CFL with over like 10,000. So he could hit the ground running on this in this league. And Seattle, they need some help at wide receiver. So he's a guy maybe next week we'll be targeting, but he's a guy we'll be monitoring to see how much he's expected to play this week. And if he's even available on DFS, might be a good GPP flyer.